When we left off our story yesterday, Jesus had just been born, and he was sleeping quietly, and I won't snore like I usually do when I pretend I'm sleeping, because little tiny babies, they don't snore very loudly. They make noises and stuff, but usually the big that wakes everybody in the house up. Yeah, they're too small for that. And they weren't in a house anyway. They were staying out in a stable, and he was asleep in a feeding trough in a manger. And while that was happening, there was a lot of other stuff going on. Tonight's story talks about that. Because when Jesus was born, God placed a bright, beautiful star in the sky. And the star was shining high above the city of Bethlehem, where he was born. And the star pointed directly to the place where the baby lay quietly sleeping. And that's when we think about that, and on Christmas Eve, we usually sing Silent Night about that, right? Well, it wasn't silent for everybody, because outside the city, in a field nearby, there were shepherds who were watching over their sheep. Mary and Joseph were watching over their baby, and the shepherds were outside watching over their sheep, making sure that no wild animals came for them during the night. And while these shepherds were out there, suddenly a bright light appeared. It was kind of like somebody turning on a light in the room when you're asleep and you wake up and you think, what's going on? Well, they were very afraid. They had no idea what was happening. They had never seen anything like this before. It was new. They covered their eyes to protect themselves in the bright light. And the shepherds were so afraid they couldn't even talk. Because what happened was that an angel had shown up, just like the angel Gabriel had shown up to Mary a long time ago and months before this, and another angel had talked to Joseph in a dream. Well, here the angels were talking to these shepherds again, and angels are messengers from God. This angel, first thing it said was, don't be afraid, because they were afraid about what was going on. And the angel said, don't be afraid, because I'm bringing you good news. And this isn't good news just for you. This is good news for all people. Today in Bethlehem, God's Son has been born. When you find the baby, and they were going to go look for him, when you find the baby, you'll know it's him, because he'll be wrapped up in cloths, and he'll be lying in a manger. This is how they knew. The angel had worked out a signal, if you will. God had worked out a signal with them. And that was how they would know it was Jesus. And after that, the night sky was filled with angels that God had sent from heaven. They praised God, and they said, "Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth." And then the angels went back to heaven. Sometimes we sing about that at Christmas, on Christmas Eve. It says that it was good news for all people. It was good news for them. It was good news for us. It was good news for the people in India, good news for the people in South Africa, good news for the people in Peru and China and Greenland, and good news for everybody all around the world, because this was even in places they had never even heard of. It was good news for everybody, because God's love was coming into the world for every single person. And the shepherds were very excited. They wanted to know all about this. They were happy to hear that God's Son had been born, and they wanted to be among the first ones. They said, let's go visit this baby that the angels told us about. We'll go to Bethlehem and see these wonderful things ourselves with our own eyes. So the shepherds left their sheep, and they hurried to the city of Bethlehem. That's where they found the stable, and they went inside. There the shepherds saw the baby that was lying in the manger, and they saw Mary and Joseph, and they thanked God for what was going on, even though they didn't understand it all yet. They knew that God was doing something wonderful in sending the baby Jesus. And after they said thank you and they talked a little bit with the baby's parents on earth, then they went back to their flocks. And they went back to their work, and they went back in a different kind of way, because it wasn't just hanging out with the sheep. They had something that was in their heart, and that really mattered. And they knew God's love in a very special and a very real way. And they kept telling other people about it too. I think that's why we sing so much at Christmas. We sing because we know special things are there. And when you're happy, you sing. At least I do. Or maybe if you don't sing well, you whistle or you hum or you clap. But you know that there's music that's at least running through your head. And that's why we sing, "Joy to the world, the Lord is come." And I'm not going to do that right now. But you know you got that going through your head. And it's okay to sing it before you go to bed tonight. Because it is bedtime. And you better get some sleep. Good night.